Morning folks, Monday morning, and as you'll probably notice, we're here up at the park and it's not mountaineering with Terry Day today. Today's tools are a BTR tough rake, some tape, some gloves, a radio and an axe. What does that mean? Well, that means we're heading off up here and we're going in search of some dual slalom tracks. I suppose the update for today then is that Double Down has begun. You can see we've got track 1 over here, track 2 beginning over there. We'll put some sort of a start line and maybe something over the top with the signage on, so that you can see a shadow on the ground and everybody starts the front wheel on there. And I don't know what that's going to be the best way of doing it. Maybe you do rock paper scissors for who picks which line, or you do best of 3. I have no idea, but there's nothing. It's not going to be anything serious. We might, as GNAR, hold some summertime evening events on here, where we'll hopefully, it'd be nice to kind of get a couple of CB radios going, so that we've got somebody at the top and somebody at the bottom to start you guys off, and we can 3, 2, 1 you and get you down there, and then have somebody watching for the bottom. And again, nothing really serious though, just as a bit of a laugh. But yeah, so it's begun and it's coming. Morning folks, Thursday morning and the sun is shining. The reason that we've got to Thursday now, between the gap that you obviously saw from Monday, we went out to Glasgow on Tuesday. Basically, Tuesday I spent a day with the family. Obviously I'm going to be away all weekend working up at the forest, and the kids are off with school, so Tuesday it was just a day together. That culminated in heading up to Glasgow for a show. I was going to say a gig, but it wasn't a gig, it was a show. We took the kids to see Diversity. Not my cup of tea, to be honest with you, but the kids really enjoyed it, so that's what counts. And then yesterday we all kind of hung out with the missus as well, which is always important. And that brings us to today, to Thursday. So we're heading north. We're going to grab a couple of things and then go and do some track checks. Right, I'm over here on Double Down, just been doing some work on here this morning. We're going to head over and check the tracks now. There was a couple of showers last night which have been great. It's just kind of tacked up the track, so I'm expecting to find conditions being pretty good. But come on, let's go and have a check. Right, well, the fact that we've had these showers last night is only going to make the tracks run faster. You've got that level of sort of tack and an extra grip. It's just going to mean that you're going to take corner speed a lot faster, to give you some sort of idea of what's going on. So let's get you through here and have a little bit of a look. So coming into sections like this, it's just got that kind of, you can just about put a fingerprint in it. It's very hard to explain, but it's just got that level of surface tack, like hero dirt, and it is going to mean that you're going to run into these sort of sections faster as well. Whereas when they're really damp, they slow you down a little. I mean, these are hard and packed today, but when they're really damp, they slow you down a little, and when they're really dusty, they're not that easy to get grip on. So again, this sort of level of tack that you'll be able to find, it's just ever so slightly. I suppose another thing, while I'm stood here, let's just get up on this bit a second. So I'm on GAP at the moment. This is one of the tracks that I get a few questions about when I'm in the cabin. We're up near the top of GAP. So one of the questions that I get is, how do you tackle the gap? As I've said before in previous vlogs, it's really hard to explain that from sitting behind the counter at the cabin to try and describe what's going on here, but I'll try again, see if I can help. This set of roots on this corner, you set up pretty fast through here. This set of roots on the corner, pedals just should be set flat, just like these happen underneath them. Certainly don't brake on them, but just don't worry about them. And again, by the time you get into sort of this area in here, really you should be thinking about having your pedals set flat again, heels dipped a bit, and you're coming up to it. This is another section that people often ask about. There's just some sort of twisted twisted roots on here before the actual set for the takeoff. To be honest, the easiest way to deal with these is just don't think about them. Just roll over them. Stay light on the bike, but heels back, pedals set. Just let it happen underneath you. If you let it phase you, you've got a really short entrance into the jump, a short area to kind of set yourself and refocus yourself. So you're better to be way back here to just set your pedals and be focused on and committed to the jump. But from here on in, I mean, well, that's not true. From kind of that corner on in, I am pedalling from there. We're just rolling, having the speed that we've brought into it. There's no need to sprint. And by the time you get into just after this stone, you've just got a real easy set and up and over. And I've left a kind of pop down here as a visual aid. Let's see if we can see here. So as you come up and off the lip, classic area to come. Well, you can see where the tyre marks are. Classic area to come off is right about here. And if you think about where that pop can is, if you think about nosing into there, don't worry about your back wheel. If you're nosing into there, your back wheel is cleared. You're over a bike length over. So, and I suppose this is mainly for people doing it first time. If you're confident on that sort of distance, and you're comfortable and you're coming committed, you'll be fine. There'll be no problems at all. But as I say, it's a bit of a tricky one because I came up here Sunday just gone. I rode a little bit Sunday as the day ended, and it's much easier to show somebody the speed in and to have them follow you in for the speed in. 9 times out of 10 it's less speed than they actually thought it was going to be. I suppose given by the fact that I just don't bother pedalling from after that corner, set them, just let off the brakes and let it go. But hopefully that'll be helpful to a couple of you. As I say, it's really difficult to try and describe it and explain it from behind the counter. While we're on the subject of stuff that Ben gets asked questions about a lot, Gasoline Alley is another one. Again, hopefully some of you might find this helpful. And it's probably easy to explain while I'm stood here. But the top of Gasoline Alley is pretty self-explanatory. The berms are the berms. Just pick your right line and hold through the speed. Down through a little step into a shot berm that kicks you back out here. And I suppose the bit to think about on Gasoline Alley really starts here. There's some finger roots in. Try not to brake on those. Never good fun. Well, actually that's not true. This time of year, fine. You can pull the brakes on there if you want. And then down through there's an S-bend. This is probably what I think's like the trickier section of the track. I know people ask about the knuckle where it bends over, but this can be a little bit tricky through here. Try and hold a high line if you can. This stuff down the bottom that's got, I mean, you can see where some people have been getting it a bit wrong, and that's going to snag your bars every time. Going this slow in, I know I might be able to see some tyre marks here compared to where the tree is. I'd be bashing knuckles on that, so I don't know. Every line choices are each their own, I suppose. Anyway, from here on in, from about here, you can start to let off a little bit. Now, that's probably the part that some of the people that were asking me earlier are like, what? You let off? Yeah, you can. You can just let the brakes go a little bit on here. It's not that bad. There's a catch berm, and then you're going to get into it. There's a rut formed over the winter. I'm not going to come in and do anything on the rake on that rut because it's, having ridden this last week, it's great. The rut's in a good spot. So we'll just get you down over here. Don't even worry about those bumps. They're just bumps. And we'll get towards the entrance of the alleyway. And in here, this is what people can ask about. This part. The trick to that is getting the entrance to it right. Just stay in the rut. There's a skid mark there where someone's kind of straight lined it a bit. I suppose if you can get that far inside, then you're setting yourself up for the outside with the yellow stripe on the tree. Don't know if you can see that far on GoPro, but generally, if you get everything on the entrance right on the way into it, this isn't as difficult to negotiate as you think. I know it steps over a little bit steeper, and you've probably already carried some speed into it, but honestly in these kind of conditions, just the way that it's kind of still sort of dusty and crumbly rather than being wet and soaked like we have had over the winter, it's like blooming hero dirt. It's just a shade tackier than it was last weekend, so it actually run slightly better. But as I say, it's a case. This one, I got one run at it over last Sunday, and you do very much feel that by 4th or 5th run down it, you'd be laughing, you'd be going at absolute top whack. So I suppose that's the advice. The main advice is to run it a few times, but to trust the ruts. The ruts are there in a good spot and they'll keep you right. One thing I am finding really quite strange is just walking back down this path, is thinking that this time last year, I hadn't even completed this yet. I hadn't finished the pathway. I don't think. I'd have to go back and check out some old YouTube videos. For example, I know for a fact that magic bus sign and some of the other signs hadn't been painted yet this time last year. I hadn't even thought about what I was doing for a sign. So it's kind of strange. It's there was a lot of build up in my head of an anticipation of, right, well, I'm going to try and get hold of some land and I'm going to try and build some tracks on it and get permission and get somebody to hire it to me and all that kind of stuff. Was a bit mental. And then looking back on it now, like on some parts a year in, we haven't been open a year yet. We didn't open until end of June. So when we get to June this year, in a couple of months' time, that'll be our 1-year anniversary. I'll trust me, I'll be doing something for that, for our first birthday, some sort of party or something along those lines. Anyway, I'll keep you posted when I think of it. But yeah, it feels kind of weird. It's kind of strange. Loads of kind of thought about how am I going to make it happen, what am I going to be able to do, how can I do this and how can I do that, to now, oh, it is happening. And I'm now at the point that I really wanted to be at, where I'm adding to the park rather than just trying to build the park. Sort of, you know, for example, putting on electric landlady and double down and stuff. So madness. It's a really weird feeling. One last thing before I close this vlog out. It's coming up to Easter weekend. I'm going to be open Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. If you come up on say Friday or Monday, still just a bit of a thought process at the moment, but if you come up Friday or Monday and you see, let's just quickly get you over there, you see this sign on the door, just give me a bell. I'm literally going to be like 50-60 yards in that diagonal direction. What I want to do is I want to scope out over here. I've talked about it in previous vlogs, but I want to scope out over here about like a pump and jump track that runs. It's going to run down next to the car park. Just want to go and have a bit of a look in there. Instead of like Monday, Friday, I'm not usually open Mondays, Fridays. I don't know how many people are going to be around. So instead of sitting there waiting for people to come and sign in, I'm just going to have a bit of a scope out and check out, see if I can find a route through, and maybe even start like taking some branches out of the insides and stuff and get a route through. But just give me a shout. I'm literally, or stand in and shout Ben. I'm literally only over there. Monday, Saturday, Sunday though, doors are probably going to be open anyway, because it's better if I'm just here behind the counter on Saturdays and Sundays rather than having to come back and forth all the time. I shut the gates behind me when I'm in here and I'm working. So if you were able to drive up the drive and the gates were open, then yes, I am open. It's just that sign says, give me a shout because I'm just out on track. Not out on track. I'm trying to make a new track on that one. So yeah, it's coming up to Easter weekend, bank holiday weekend. It's the first one I've ever been open, so let's see what it brings. And weather-wise, spot on. Anyway, thanks very much for your time. I'll stop this before I start rambling. Thanks very much for your time. If you're riding this weekend, have a great one. If you're coming up here, give me a shout and I'll have a crack with you. And thanks for your time. See you soon.